Welcome. Can you quickly introduce yourself to our audience, please?
Sure. My name is Adam Cheyer. I'm co-founder or founding member of 4 companies. So Siri sold to Apple. Viv Labs, the next generation Siri-like system, sold to Samsung a few years ago to power their Bixby assistant. I was founding member of Change.org, the world's largest petition platform with 350 million members, and Sentient, another AI machine learning company.
Wow, amazing. So your whole life has been working around conversational AIs, I see.
My whole career, maybe. Yes.
That's nice. Can you maybe describe one of the most recent projects you have been working on?
Sure. So Viv Labs sold to Samsung to create Bixby. I believe that the conversational assistant can be as powerful or more powerful than the web or than mobile, if done correctly. Wow. Today's assistants are not that. You know, they do a few things. Even though there's 100,000 skills in Alexa, nobody uses them. So what I'm trying to do is open up a third-party ecosystem that is equitable and fair for all members, get it onto hundreds of millions or 1 billion devices, and make sure that third parties can monetize their services, and also give them the best tools and the most advanced AI available.
Wow, and that's what you have been working on with Bixby, or that's like a new project?
That's correct. So Bixby is on hundreds of millions of devices. If you're a developer and you want to learn a completely different way of making assistants, conversational assistants, go to bixbydevelopers.com and you can get tools and a platform like no one has ever done before.
Because how would you differentiate maybe Bixby from Alexa or even like Google Assistant?
Sure, many ways. Number one, the technology is more powerful. It's literally, rather than a human assistant writing every use case, an AI writes the program for you, integrating information, interacting with the user. No other assistant has anything like that. Also, we're very visual based. Samsung has 1 billion devices, screens of TVs, phones, refrigerators. We're the only assistant where when you build your capsule or your skill, you can deploy it across many, many devices instantly, and it will switch from a watch to a big screen to a small screen automatically. No one else has anything like that.
Wow, sort of like a multimodal experience already built in.
Absolutely. And automatic portability across devices, because it changes. The best experience changes on every device automatically.
And can I assume that this works only in the Samsung ecosystem?
For the moment, it's only Samsung devices, but Samsung has committed to opening Bixby up to every device. So first we were on one device, then many types of Samsung devices, and in the future, we plan to open it up to every device.
That's amazing. I think that's one of the main challenges we still see in the AI space. Like, well, many big players, they have their own smart assistant, and it's only closed in their own environment. Whereas we really need an open ecosystem to help each other and making it grow, right?
I agree. If the assistant is going to be more important than the web or mobile, it has to be on every device.
Brilliant. And speaking about one of the recent thing that is happening, which is the COVID-19, how do you see the virus impacting the conversational AI as an industry?
Not too much, a little bit, because for the first time, many people are getting comfortable speaking to machines, often to people, like we're doing now. I mean, many people. And I don't think it's much of a leap now that they're comfortable talking to a computer. to now start to talk to an automated assistant, not just another human. So I do think it is broadening the technology comfort of many people, grandmothers and Midwest, first time they've ever used this type of medium to communicate.
Interesting, interesting. And what are some of the main challenges you still see the industry is facing?
Well, conversational AI, the industry, today we're too partitioned, too fragmented. Alexa and Google, the third-party skills are all independent of each other, built by different people, and they feel very different. Language is horizontal. So if I should be able to say, near my house, 3 Thursdays from now, do something, I should be able to do that everywhere. Right? Well, if the assistant knows where I live, it knows how to do 3 Thursdays from now. That's not the case with most of today's technologies. Bixby, I think, is trying to overcome this to make it feel like one assistant that can do everything using the brands and services, but rather than 10,000 assistants. It's too hard for users.
Oh, I see. So what you are saying is like in the case of Bixby, the knowledge is actually shared between those each of those conversational apps, or whatever you want to call them.
Yes. So when you teach Bixby something, it can apply that everywhere. I want it to feel to a user like they have one assistant who can help do many things, not be 10,000 assistants, which is just too hard. And that's why the assistant can be more powerful than the web or mobile, because it can integrate information across different services, which is important for any task. But today our technology is not there yet.
And what would you say is like kind of the main challenges for somebody to start adopting this type of solution? Like if a developer want to use Bixby, what are some of the main challenges he will face?
Well, we've tried to make it easy to do easy things, but rich enough and powerful enough to do complex things. So I think if you go to bixbydevelopers.com, you'll be able to create a conversational experience literally in minutes. But there is a learning curve as you get into more advanced use cases and interactions. If you want to do more custom things, you can do it. It's very powerful. But you know, it will take some time and effort. But we're trying to make a clean ramp, easy, and in minutes to do something simple and make it powerful enough to do complex transactions, credit cards, machine learning, preferences, everything.
What's the best maybe conversational AI use case you have seen so far built with Bixby?
That's a good question.
One that you like most, at least.
Well, for me, I want an assistant who can do everything. So it's not just one use case, it's the sum of all the use cases that people build. But I will say that Bixby is very good at transactional experiences. So I can say, get me a 4-star hotel in Las Vegas 3 Thursdays from now. Oh, do you have anything with a pool? You can interact with it. Once you've found the hotel, it'll say, which room do you want? Do you want this one as usual? So it can do preference learning. We're using booking.com, or booking.com has built this capsule. And then you can actually buy your hotel room by conversation without having to enter in a credit card multiple times, because if you teach it one time, now it knows it will know that everywhere. You can use that one credit card now in booking.com, 1-800-Flowers to send gifts, Cheryl's Cookies, Ticketmaster. So getting things done, booking and buying and purchasing is one thing Bixby does better than any other assistant, I believe.
Wow, that's amazing. And would you differentiate maybe the voice-based interface versus maybe purely more visual or text-based interfaces?
Sure. So for me, it's conversational. When I worked with Steve Jobs, here's how I explained it to him.
Okay.
If it's on the screen,
Yeah.
the best way is to touch it. If there's a button, or just click it. And designers
Right.
work very hard to put the right things on the screen. But if it's off the screen, the best way is to ask for it. And the ultimate interface is multimodal, where you can be asking and clicking and using the screen and using your language without thinking about it, which is what humans do every day. So it's not just about voice.
Okay.
It's about context, conversational context, and it's about using the best modality for the current circumstance. If I'm jogging with a watch or driving in a car, voice is very important because I can't use my eyes or my hands.
Yeah.
But if I can use my eyes or my hands, I should use them because it's very quick and easy. So conversational, multimodal, contextual, that's what's important, not the voice so much.
Interesting, interesting. I was talking the other day with Paul Wilson, who is like the leading engineer in Intuit, and he was fairly big on the voice part because he believes ultimately it's much easier for people to say things than just having to rely on visual interfaces, right?
Voice has strengths and weaknesses, and touch and visual interfaces have strengths and weaknesses. If you're a new user and you don't know what you can say, you want to browse menus to discover. You can't do that with voice. Once you're an expert user and you know what you can do and say, voice is probably the fastest way to get it done. But you need to transition from new to expert to intermediate. And we're all beginners in some domains, expert in other domains, and intermediate in some. So we need a seamless interface that lets you transition through visual and voice. You can't just have one.
Okay. This is sounds like a video game, right? Where people will start with some basic controls, and then while they progresses, their way of interacting with the game is much advanced.
Yes, it changes over time. And again, even when you're an expert in one, you might still be a learner in something else. I know restaurants, how to book them and what I can do, but maybe I don't know about video games. And if I'm doing voice to video games, I need to understand the space more. So definitely.
Interesting. And to wrap up, can you maybe share, and maybe you have to think it more carefully, can you share a contrarian opinion you have about the future of conversational AI?
Well, let's see. So I think we're still very much at the beginning. There is so much that needs to be done, but I think the potential is huge. Maybe that's contrarian or maybe it's not. But I would say what contrarian is that we are going after, I want one assistant that can do everything. Many people in the industry think I'll have 1 million apps, each app with their own voice interface. So those are two very different views. I would say most people in the industry today go to the 1 million different voice assistants because it's easier to build.
True.
Every system that I've ever built, if you go back over, this is 27 years I've been working in this space. Every assistant is, I want a user to have one assistant that I can say, I want to know this, or I want to do that. And it will help me coordinate tasks across all of the services that I want, that I trust, that I use. So customized and personalized for me. But it really is a one assistant as a tool to help interact with everything, not 1 million different assistants. And I think that's still contrarian to most.
No, I think that's absolutely contrarian. Like you're saying, like, instead of building millions of voice or conversational apps, you should have one macro that is able to handle those million tasks.
It should be like in the web. There are millions of websites, but there's one way of interacting. You have links, you have browser, you have bookmarks, back buttons. You know, as a user, you know what you can do and how to do it. It's very common. In Bixby, every time Bixby asks you a question from any domain, any website built by any developer, it can learn from that and stop asking you that question. That's a fundamental platform. Like, why would I tell the same question a million times?
Yeah.
If I respond consistently, it should stop asking. And if I ever change my views, I should know where to go to change my opinion on how to answer that question. Right? That's a platform level feature that Bixby has. That is like a browser, like a bookmark.
I see.
Right? But if you have fragmented 10,000 different things, you don't know what they're learning or how to change it. Some ask, some forget, some don't. It's too hard. It's not optimal. So I want a user experience framework that users can be comfortable with and trust on how to interact with all these other assistants. But there is this horizontal nature, not fragmented 100,000 different ways of doing it. That's, to me, it's too hard. And language is too horizontal to be cut into pieces. So that's what I want.
Well, that's a very contrarian opinion, I would say, because I've never thought it in that way. But now that you say it, I think it intuitively makes a lot of sense. But I think the challenge is how to make that happen, right? Because if that's possible, everybody would already doing it.
I told you the easiest thing, Amazon opened up the easy way to do third parties. Give me a string, give me back a string. So user says something, give me back what to say to the user. Simple, 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 but fragmented. And I think they can never get it back into the box. If I want to be able to say, oh, help me plan a trip to my sister's wedding next month, where should I stay? What do I do? And have conversation and context flowing across, you know, what gift do I bring? What do I wear? Where do I eat? And have that as a task. I cannot have 10,000, I can't just give strings to different services and let them do what they want to do. It's just, we need to work together to create a better conversational assistant experience. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Perfect. And that's a very good way to wrap up our podcast. So really appreciate your time. I think we have went a little over, but that's okay. That's okay, because the last piece is so fascinating for me. I want to go into that level. So again, appreciate your time, and let's hope we can build better conversational experiences together.
Absolutely. Excellent.